Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, soupies of all ages, welcome to the historic first time ever episode of the Intern Review. Basically, this is a kind of a TLDR version of my written review that's going up on Facebook every week and now also available for free on patreon.com/kayfabesoup for those that prefer to view things there, those that can't or don't get the update notifications on Facebook, or those that just want to see it uncensored. Essentially, I'm just going to go through what happened on SmackDown and give a much more distilled, condensed version of what I would write. Basically, instead of using a mountain of words to describe 2 hours worth of television, I'm just going to use a slightly smaller mountain of words to describe what happened on television. Alright, so wasting no time, let's jump right in. We kick off the show in what I consider the most appropriate manner possible. The New Day, along with new WWE Champion Kofi Kingston, show up to address the WWE Universe. Great stuff here. We see Big E doing the splits as a reprise of what he did last night. That was pretty awesome. They also do this great thing where they say they're not here for comedy, but before that they just kind of describe what a wild journey they've had, and most of their shtick is talking about butt stuff, which, given their obsession with booty, is pretty darn accurate. But yeah, the gist of the promo, though, is some really good stuff here. Both Big E and Woods spend time putting over how, before they even got to the WWE, they watched Kofi from afar on television, and once they got there, he kind of served as both as a role model and mentor to them. That was really cool. Kofi seemed legitimately touched by all this as he went through and thanked them and explained how him winning the title was something that, as he put it, wasn't in the script. Wink, wink. It kind of worked there. It wasn't like the Ronda Rousey wrestling is fake and scripted thing, as much as was as just a tongue-in-cheek way of saying that his victory wasn't supposed to be in the cards. And then, because we can't ever have a promo happen without someone else wandering in, the Bar show up. And I'd like to say that they provide a reason for stopping last night's attempted main event in that winner-takes-all match, but no, they don't. Instead, they just say that Kofi should thank them because he was losing that match and they saved his title. I had to laugh here because the crowd responds with a very stiff "shut the F up" chant, only they said a little more than F. They said some things I'm not supposed to say because this is on YouTube and we kind of want to be able to monetize this, so yeah. They then challenged the New Day to a 6-man tag match, which seems stupid because, there's only 2 of them and that would be a 5-man tag, but then they bring out their partner for the night, Drew freaking McIntyre. Wow. Now, I don't know if this is just a one-off deal or not. If it's not a one-off, this just feels like yet another attempt to create the League of Nations all over again. So yeah, 3 European guys, a Swiss, a Scotsman, and an Irishman. But yeah, that's setting up tonight's main event, so I'd say a very good overall segment to open the show. We then go into our first match of the night, funny enough, 6-man tag, because who needs straight one-on-ones, right? We get Aleister Black and Ricochet pairing up with Don't Call Me Mustafa Ali, and they take on the team of, as Habes called them, Nakamura, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Rusev, who are partnered up with Andrade. It's kind of funny how each team is one tag team that fought in this Sunday's Fatal 4-Way, partnering up with someone from the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, who has recently lost one of their names. Pretty standard stuff here that, again, gets beaten or hurt by losing time to commercial break. A lot of it is Ricochet playing face in peril in the early goings. In the end, though, Ali manages to get blind tag into the match, hits a beautiful inverted run on Andrade, and then lands a regular 450 for the win, not the 054. And then, setting the stage for what's going to happen this night, even more so than Drew Mack showing up, random chaos happens. Yes, folks, this is a very Crash TV episode of SmackDown. First, Randy Orton just randomly pops in, drops Ali with an RKO out of nowhere, and leaves. And then also from out of nowhere, Kevin Owen pops in, kicks Rusev, kick wham stunner, crowd's loving it. I'm just going, what's going on? awesome stuff there, honestly. But given that we've got the Superstar Shakeup next week, who knows if this is even setting up future angles or if this is just stuff to fill time. Speaking of the Superstar Shakeup, I should point this out now. I meant to do it when Drew Mack showed up. I hope you get used to the announcer saying, or screaming rather, this could be a preview of what happens next week at the Superstar Shakeup, because every little thing that happens tonight, they feel the need to scream that, and the WWE's attempt to ham-fistedly pound things into our head because they think we have the memory of a freaking goldfish. Stop doing this, WWE. We are not stupid. Although we keep watching the product, so maybe we are. Anyhow, moving right along, we get a short promo from the Usos putting over that tonight they've got a tag title match. Remember a few weeks back how the Usos teased that they were going to face the Hardy Boys at WrestleMania, and then nothing was ever said of that, and nothing ever came of it? Yeah, it turns out they're getting that match tonight. Historic first time ever. Moving right along, we go back into the ring as R-Truth and Carmella come out to, as usual, cut an entertaining promo. Best part here was Truth putting over how Carmella, quote, defeated Andre the Giant in the Royal Rumble match, unquote, at WrestleMania. I had to go back and listen to that a couple of times, both because I wanted to make sure I got the verbiage correct and because I was laughing my ass off at it every time. Truth is a national treasure. We need to keep him on the mic for a long time. Carmella cuts a nice promo putting over how even throughout the past year, even though she'd lost the SmackDown Women's title, she gained a good friend in Truth. Aww. And now that she's won the Women Battle Royal, she thinks good things are in for her future. Good things are not in for the future, though, as this summons Samoa Joe for some reason. He makes his way into the ring. Truth tries to fight him off, but no. Much like with Ray on Sunday, Joe puts him out with a Coquina clutch in short order and just dumps him from the ring. He takes the mic from there, puts over how he destroyed Ray in 60 seconds on Sunday, and says that, hey, going forward, it might take less time for me to destroy any future challengers. The word future challengers means someone is going to have to come to the ring right now, because that's how the WWE works. And Braun Strowman randomly hits the ring. Full props to Joe here. He doesn't back down. He takes the fight right to Braun. Even gets him in a Coquina clutch, but Braun does power out. At a very iffy spot, he tries to get Joe up for his running power slam, but isn't quite able to get him up on the shoulder. I don't know if that was planned or if that's going to show up on Botchamania. Let's face it, even if it was planned, it's probably still going to show up on Botchamania, and I just hope that Matthew picks really good 8-bit video game music to go along with it. Oh, moving on next, we get the absolute funniest part of the show for all the worst reasons possible. If you were watching Raw last night, you may have seen that odd vignette where we got a box, there's a creepy instrumental version of Live in Fear, the Bray Wyatt theme playing in the background, and then a stupid cheap prop buzzard that looks like something out of the Muppets pops out and starts laughing. What the crap is that? Okay, I know what the crap it is. It's to me, it's pretty obviously a teaser for Bray Wyatt, but hashtag LOL what? We've got women's action again up next, but before the match starts, the Iconics hit the ring. They've got microphones in hand, and they cut a very, very sane, low tone, not at all annoying promo. I couldn't even say that with a straight face. Of course, they cut a great, hilarious, but super shrill and annoying promo. They put over how they won the women's tag titles on Sunday. They got a nice little "You Deserve It" chant from the crowd. They put themselves over as fighting champions, and they gather a team that they call the top women's contenders that they could find, the Brooklyn Bells, who are totally not jobbers and totally have a 45-0 record. I swear, or at least that's what they want you to believe. I did look it up. Funny enough, one of the two Bells, a woman by the name of Carissa Rivera, although she was never wrestling in a team called the Brooklyn Bells, she has actually done some time in NXT. She's been wrestling on their house show loop since October. As for the other woman, I couldn't really find anything on her. Anyhow, as you can imagine, this was a jobber squash. Here, highlight of the match was Corey Graves intentionally getting the women's names wrong, which, as I pointed out in my review, sounds like something Bobby Heenan would have done, and I honestly can't give anything less than an A plus for anything Bobby Heenan would do. But yeah, basically, Billy Kay grabs, I think it was the one named Kristen, in kind of a half Nelson driver position, and Peyton Royce blasts her in the face with a knee. Somehow, the Jobbers weren't able to win. I know, I'm shocked as well. During the match, though, we got Paige backstage staring at a monitor. I noticed I didn't say watching. She was kind of standing sideways with her shoulder to the monitor, just looking over her shoulder. Because, yeah, that's how people naturally watch television. After the match, she declares that she's here to scout out the new WWE Women's Tag Champions, because next week she's bringing in an impressive tag team of her own. Hoping this is not just her Absolution buddies and that they've scrapped that breakup story, but I guess we shall see next week. Moving right along, though, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. This is the moment we all wanted. The best segment in the world with the best wrestler in the world, Shane McMahon. He sweats his way out to the ring, and for some reason, he's gone in babyface mode where he's putting over everything that happened over the past week, like the weekend shows. He put over yesterday's amazing Raw, tonight's amazing SmackDown. He puts over next week's going to be an amazing set of shows with the Superstar Shake-Up. Just, I understand where he's coming from as far as, being an actual McMahon or executive or McMahon, but it just felt so bizarrely out of character for him. Luckily, he pulls it back around to the heel territory by putting over how he beat the crap out of Mr. Baked Potato Head. How not only did he beat Miz, but Miz isn't even here this week because he's at home helping Nurse George back to health. So, yeah, that's cool. As well, really cool too is he actually does put George over. He shows off that he has a black eye, and he actually attributes it to George Mizanin punching him in the eye, which, given all the sick stuff that happened in that match with Miz, I doubt that's what caused the shiner, but hey, kudos to him for trying to put over what happened there. And then, of course, he turns to his real enemy, Greg. See, Greg didn't introduce him as enthusiastically as he did at WrestleMania, and this is not good. Now, Greg Hamilton has an amazing reason for this. According to him, before the show, a bunch of fans threatened to do a bodily harm to him if he did a proper introduction for Shane. That popped me so much. Shane then goes back into shill mode a little bit. He puts Brooklyn over as being the best city in the world, so Greg doesn't have to worry about what anyone in Brooklyn will do to him. No, he has to worry about what Shane will do to him. He grabs Greg by the tie, tells Greg to do the intro again, and then poses with the trophy while he did it. A freaking plus. Greg gets it wrong several times, so Shane gets angry and angry. Then he grabs Greg by the tie, and as he kind of drags Greg with him as he walks towards the entranceway, making him do it again and again. He finally gives him some words of encouragement. I know you want to do this because you believe in me, Greg. I'm dying. Shane is such a terrible babyface, but I absolutely love what he's doing as a heel here. Greg finally gets it right, and we can move on with our show. And that takes us to the World Tag Match, the Hardy Boys versus the Usos. Brothers on brothers in a battle to see who are the best brothers in the WWE roster. Pretty good stuff here. I couldn't help but wish that we had this at WrestleMania just so I could watch this without commercial breaks, but, if you've read any one of my reviews ever, you know my gripe about how badly commercial breaks break up the flow of a match. Get some really cool stuff here. I really liked shortly after the break, Jey Uso tags into Jimmy. Jimmy tries to do a whisper in the wind on Jeff, but misses. And Jeff goes up top and hits one of his own. That's kind of a nice little back and forth spot, especially where the commentary team played up how the Usos were influenced by the Hardys and looked up to them as heroes when they were younger. So I like that. Plus, I also like that Jimmy's whisper in the wind didn't knock Jeff Hardy down, because Jeff is not Jinder Mahal, which, if you remember the Saudi show, yeah, that was not a good spot. Jeff actually gets to survive a super kick Uso splash tandem, and the Hardys go up after that for a double Uso splash. Matt's able to distract Jay long enough to let Jeff recover. They go for the double Uso, but Jeff moves, so both Usos eat nothing but Matt. And then we get a bit of a HBK Steve Austin style finisher exchange where Matt goes for a twist of fate. He gets pushed into the corner, makes the blind tag to Jeff. Jimmy goes for a super kick. Matt catches it, hits the twist of fate. Jeff lands the swanton, and wow, we have new tag team champions. I don't know if this means that the Usos are heading to Raw next week, or if we get the random contractual rematch that is supposedly not a thing, but still seems to happen all the time anyway. But yeah, I was not expecting the Usos to put the Hardys over here, so good on them. The new champs don't have a lot of time to celebrate, though, because Lars Sullivan makes his way to the ring. Now, normally I would take a crap on one guy being able to beat the crap out of a tag team by himself, but Matt and Jeff did work a full match, so what happens here makes sense. Lars just takes it to both Hardys, dumps Matt from the ring, blasts Jeff with a freak accident. Matt gets into the ring, but he takes a power slam, and then in a moment that makes me and possibly anyone else is aware of what happened to Chris Benoit's brain squeamish, he goes up top and hits Matt with a diving headbutt. Yeah, I'm sorry. After, Daniel Bryan's concussion issues and Chris Benoit's brain damage murdering his family issues, I do not want to see a diving headbutt in 2019. Just saying. After that, we got Becky Lynch coming out to address the audience about her victory, and can I real talk you guys for a moment? You know me. You know I love Becky Lynch. You know I've always loved Becky Lynch. You know I especially have been loving the work Becky Lynch has been doing with her The Man character. Yeah, today she kind of regressed away from that, and in a way she still don't get me wrong, she still had great promo material, she still had excellent delivery, but she's kind of gone back to pandering to the audience. She's lost that edge and attitude that made the Man character so compelling, and in a way she's just a few puns away from being pre-SummerSlam Becky. Now, there's nothing wrong with white meat pun-loving Becky. She was fun because Becky Lynch the performer, Rebecca Quinn the performer is amazing, but it still feels like a huge step down in character. She doesn't really have a lot to say. She addresses what happened with Lacey Evans on Raw last night. She says that she's going to be a fighting champion and take on all comers, and then as she makes her way back to the entrance ramp, Lacey Evans pops out of nowhere and levels her with a women's right. Now, if you watched Raw last night, you know that Becky took the finisher and just popped right back up and got into a cat fight, which, yeah, not a good move when someone's finisher is supposed to just be a straight-out right punch to the face. This time she handles it a lot better. She staggers and struggles to get to her feet, but is barely able to, and it looked more like she took a chair shot to the face and is possibly concussed or at least rocked really badly. That's probably the way it should have played out last night. Finally, we get to our main event, The Bar with Drew McIntyre versus The New Day. Really good stuff here. I was excited that Drew McIntyre being on the heel team would add a nice dynamic to the match. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to see much of them. I'll get into that in a second because I just remembered another brief random Crash TV thing. After the ring entrances are made, but before the match can start, Sami Zayn shows up. The chants are just singing his music, they're cheering to him. So, of course, he just says, you're not worth it, and takes off. Again, the WWE is so tone deaf to what the audience wants sometimes, but taking that aside, great heel stuff from Sami. Such a brief but such a awesome little FU to the fans. So yeah, the match itself, like I said, Drew factored in for exactly one move that happened on camera. Now granted, it was the most brutal move of the night, and that even includes what I saw on 205 Live. After Woods gets dumped to the floor, Drew jumps off the apron and grabs him, picks him up for the inverted Alabama slam, and slams him face first onto the announce table. Oh my god, Xavier Woods, why would you agree to take that? That looked painful. From there, we go to commercial break, and when we come back, not only does Drew not get tagged into the match, he's nowhere to be found. I didn't see him on the apron. I didn't see him on the floor. I can only assume that a vortex opened up, swallowed him whole, and he is gone forever until next week. That's the only thing I can really think of. But so yeah, I mean it's the New Day versus the Bar, like we've seen a million times. Like, this time it's 3-on-2, so you can probably imagine how well that goes. Kofi's able to finish Sheamus off with the Trouble in Paradise, and we finished the show much like we finished that match at WrestleMania, with Kofi celebrating in ring with his wife and his kids for that awesome feel good moment. So, how did the show hold up? Well, if you ask me, it still felt lackluster for a insert show name after Mania show. Like usually the Raw and SmackDown after Manias are really good. It's where some of the rivalries coming out of Mania will continue, but usually, or maybe heat up a bit. Usually it's where brand new rivalries start up. We got some of that here, but where there's a Superstar Shakedown next week, you really can't trust any of the events that happen on this show to lead to anything. It really felt like it was just treading water until we get to the shake-up next week. That being said, I do think it was a much better show than Raw was. The wrestling was pretty good all around. Even that squash match was actually pretty good for what it was. It was just the Iconics beating the crap out of two women for a few minutes. The promo work was really good. I certainly hope that at least a few of the random Crash TV happenstances that took place actually affect the storylines going forward, because there were some interesting things here happening here. I especially would love to see Drew McIntyre and or Braun Strowman and or both of them show up on SmackDown in the future, but I guess we'll cross that bridge next week. And there you have it. That was SmackDown in a nutshell. A little over 21 minutes, right around where I wanted to keep that. So let me know, please, either whether you're seeing this on Facebook, where I'm linking it, or on YouTube. Please hit the comments. Let me know how you did. Let me know if there's anything that I should be doing different going forward. And more importantly, let me know how much you loved it and how awesome I am, because I am a very needy person at heart, like all creative types are. Thank you for listening to the Intern Review. This has been a Kayfabe Soup production. If you haven't already, please go check us out on Facebook. We're also on Twitter, Instagram. We sell shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees, and we've got a Patreon as well. And if you haven't listened to it yet, please check out the Kayfabe Soup podcast over on YouTube, as well as Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, and pretty well wherever else you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.